Philippians chapter 2, we're going to finish up the chapter. Verse 29 and 30, still Paul is speaking of Epaphroditus, and we read this. So receive him, he tells the Philippians. When I send him back, you receive him in the Lord with all joy and honor such men. Why honor him? Verse 30, listen close. For he nearly died for the work of Christ, risking his life to complete what was lacking in your service to me. He's not chiding the Philippians by that statement, to complete what was lacking in your service to me. It's his way of saying, you weren't physically present with me, but he was. He served me tangibly in your stead. He represented you to me. He was you by proxy. And he's saying, listen, honor him. He served on your behalf. There's something that Epaphroditus embraces that we need to embrace as Christian disciples, and that is this. We have to be willing to not be safe. He is willing to not be safe. He risks his life. He risks his life for the sake of the apostle. This apostle was in prison. Listen to this is C.S. Lewis from Chronicles of Narnia. Lucy asks, is he a man? She's talking about Aslan. Aslan a man? Said Mr. Beaver sternly. Certainly not. I tell you, he is the king of the wood and the son of the great emperor beyond the sea. Don't you know he is the king of beasts? Aslan is a lion. Remember, Aslan is the Christ figure. The lion, the great lion. Ooh, said Susan. I thought he was a man. Is he quite safe? I shall feel rather nervous about meeting a lion. That you will, dearie, and no mistake, said Mrs. Beaver. If there's anyone who can appear before Aslan with their knees knocking, without their knees knocking, they're either braver than most or else just silly. Then he isn't safe, said Lucy. Safe? Said Mr. Beaver. Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Who said anything about safe? Of course he isn't safe, but he's good. He's the king, I tell you. Safe? No, he isn't safe. Listen, following Christ isn't safe. It's not safe. You need to have a heart in that way that is not committed to safety. Why? Number one, because you serve a God who isn't safe. What Lewis wrote in the Chronicles of Narnia is true in poetic fashion. He's a risk taker in that sense. Now, is it risky for God? Well, of course not, because God is God, and God is in complete control. But Christ came and exposed himself to vulnerabilities, is the idea. Christ puts himself in that way at risk, right? As when he takes on human flesh, right? This is what is identified earlier in Philippians 2. You follow a God who has chosen a realm that is not safe. Is he not safe, but also he calls you to do things that are not safe. Think about it. Abraham goes to a distant country. Elijah confronts the prophets of Baal. David slays Goliath. Moses is called to face off Pharaoh and go out into the wilderness, and on and on and on it goes. You can go with Daniel and Esther and just go on and on with people, right? Third, because great things are rarely accomplished in the arena of human safety. Great things are rarely accomplished simply by staying, being. Great things end up being accomplished because it's not necessarily always magnanimous, but because you at least step out. You at least are not idolizing safety, but we live in a world where we tend to idolize safety. Don't send the kids here, might not be safe. Be careful here, might not be safe. Don't go on that trip, might not be safe. Don't go talk to those people. What if? Then we live in the hypothetical. Don't idolize safety, my friends. Epaphroditus teaches us not to do that. Paul commends him for it. May the Lord help us do the same. Take care.